On this episode of That One Movie Podcast, we're taking a look at Ghostbusters. Woo, it's chilly out there. Frozen Empire. Use the time codes down in the description to jump right to that review. We'll warn you when we dive into spoilers as well. But beforehand, Holden, my beloved co-host here.
That's really sweet.
We're going to talk about some of the news from this week in the world of entertainment, including what are some of our top stories.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about several trailers, including for Star Wars: The Acolyte and House of the Dragon. We'll also be talking about a Sims movie that's being made, apparently. And also that apparently Joker 2 is going to be a jukebox musical.
Yeah.
So, interesting stuff.
As always, use the time codes down in the description to jump to any of those topics as well, in addition to all the others that we're going to talk about today. Otherwise, just stick around for the whole thing. Hang out with us. We'd love to have you.
Yes.
I'm Jimmy Youthy.
I'm Holden Sutter.
And it's time for Tom.
That One Movie Podcast.
Tom.
All right, Jimmy, before we talk Ghostbusters, let's do the Toms.
Yeah, I need to go grab the things. I'll be right back.
The Toms.
Toms is the rapid fire segment in which we rate the news of the week in the world of entertainment on a scale of three famous Toms: Brokaw, Bombadil, and Bergeron. Brokaw's the highest.
Oh, gosh. Brokaw.
Bombadil's the lowest.
There we go.
And Bergeron is somewhere in between.
There we go. We got it.
Yeah.
You know,
Jimmy gave me permission that I could start without him. I wasn't just being rude. So
Yeah.
he was Russian. So
Yes, I was Russian.
yes, I knew that was coming. All right.
Low-hanging fruit there.
But Jimmy, let's start off with some trailers. We got
yes.
5 of them this week. We'll start with The Penguin.
Oh, the penguin.
Yeah, Penguin. This is the spin-off of The Batman from a couple years ago, starring Colin Farrell. This show. He was very good in the movie, I thought.
Yes, very good makeup.
Very good makeup. What do you think of this trailer?
It looks like just a crime show.
It really
that
does.
happens to be the penguin. I really am not that interested after seeing the trailer. I mean, it looks fine for what it is. That does not sound all that interesting to me.
It's bizarre. I mean, like
I don't know.
I like the world that the Batman establishes and everything. I think Colin Farrell was very good in the movie. I liked the whole framing device of the trailer of him telling the story about the crime boss who was like kind of beloved, like philanthropic despite doing all these bad things, which is kind of what the Penguin is a lot of times in the comics. He's on the outside a big benefactor. So that's interesting.
That guy's name is Tony Soprano.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, it just looks like a generic, pretty like crime thriller. Looks good. Like,
I mean, it looks good.
Yeah,
I just
like cinematography and everything.
I don't really know if this show is for me. So I'm gonna go Bergeron just because of that.
Unless it's like horrible, I'll probably watch it though.
Unless it's really good, I probably won't watch it.
Fair enough. I'll give it a Bergeron too.
There we go.
Looks decent to fine.
Awesome.
Next trailer, Star Wars: The Acolyte. Jimmy, this is coming out in June alongside 2 other shows, which I'm more excited for. The Boys and House of the Dragon.
Okay, yeah.
But what
I
you
thought
think?
you meant 2 more Star Wars shows.
No. Thank goodness. No. But what'd you think of this? What'd you think of this trailer?
Look, it's got some elements I like. Of course, it's taking place during the High Republic, which is an era I don't know that much about, but sounds interesting. So it's got that going for it. You got some like martial arts.
Yeah.
Sort of fighting in the trailer, which that's kind of cool, a little bit different. Haven't seen a lot of that in the Star Wars universe. Lots of lightsabers. It's like, oh, look at all those lightsabers.
Look at all of them. Oh my gosh.
And then they push them away, and then there's a red lightsaber, and it's flying around.
Yeah, at the end of the trailer, there's like six lightsabers, and they're all running. And all running towards
and
something.
Carrie Ann Moss is there, and she's like, I'm a Jedi Knight too.
Yeah. And there's an assassin.
The Jedi Temple, assassin Jedi are dying. What's going on?
You pointed out when we were talking about it on Thursday that it's High Republic, but it just looks like the original trilogy.
Yeah, it doesn't really have that. I thought it would have more of the prequel aesthetic.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I mean, maybe I just need to see. Maybe I just associate that with like the I don't know, huge set pieces. Like huge sets are like, if you look back at the prequels, everything is just so big in scale, and this is so small.
Well, and yeah, 100%. That's like when I think of the High Republic, that's what I think of is the prequel stuff. I mean, like, I think Knights of the Old Republic, the game is kind of set during that, and from what little I see of the game is like it looks very similar to the prequels aesthetic wise. So strange that they're not playing into that more. Maybe they are, and the trailer just doesn't show it. Who knows? But
maybe they just needed to do everything so they could just do it in the volume.
Yeah, maybe. Although I think I saw that they're not doing much of this in the volume, if anything. So that's something. But yeah, still. Strange.
When I think of that, I like, the Jedi Temple is just massive. It's like the least practical building of all time. And then you just look at like the Geonosis Arena and the Tatooine, like the Mos Espa or whatever, the pod racing place.
Yeah.
Just Camino, like everything is so open in the prequels, and this just seems very like, oh, we're going into another dive bar, and it's another and it's got the Rogue One look, and there's the vignetting, and the colors all desaturated.
Yeah, it does really just look like they go into a bunch of the cantinas in this trailer.
Or it's just very like dreary look. It's just the modern color palette that just doesn't.
That could be.
It just seems too lifeless to me from a visual standpoint, and that's creating a disconnect in my brain. That's like, that seems like you just made another thing that takes place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. It looks like it's in the same time period as The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like visually is where this trailer had to really grab me, because that's like one of the things about like the Andor trailer, why I turned around on Andor when that came out, was because the trailer looked great.
It's a great point.
Yeah, it looked fantastic. It looked unique to Star Wars and everything. The Acolyte, I mean, the story, it's not during that, in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy era that everything else is, but it's not particularly a story, from what little I know, that sounds super interesting to me. I mean, maybe it'll be great, but
what was the plot again? The Acolyte.
It's like there's like someone assassinating Jedi or something like that.
Okay, well, let's see. That's premise is this is according to Wikipedia. It is set at the end of the Star Wars franchise's High Republic era, so the end of it approximately 100 years before The Phantom Menace. It sees a respected Jedi Master investigating a series of crimes that bring him into conflict with a former Padawan learner, and reveal sinister forces.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a crime mystery element.
Which
the
could be
O
cool.
looks like it's the Acolyte O. I made the joke that it was the Lord of the Rings, because
Yeah,
it looks like some sort of ring thing. So I don't know why that's important. Look, I'm open to this. I really want it to be good.
There's a pretty cool cast to it too. Like, it's got Carrie-Anne Moss, as we said. Amanda Stenberg, from what I've seen of them, is pretty good. Then Lee Jung-jae, I believe. He's the Squid Game actor. So cool stuff there, cool casting, but I don't know. Yeah. It'll probably be fine. It'll probably be fine. That's where I'm at.
Well, like I was looking forward to Ahsoka, and I thought that was just very, very mid.
Yeah.
So
this looks more interesting to me than Ahsoka.
And I was super hyped for Obi-Wan, and the last part with the very last stuff with Darth Vader and him was pretty cool. But the rest of that show, I just am like, they have burned me too many times. And then The Mandalorian season 3 was also very mid. So
you're not gonna get Obi-Wan on 4K Blu-ray or whatever.
I'm not. I'm not gonna be doing that.
Aside from Andor and first couple seasons of Mandalorian, Star Wars TV just hasn't been hitting it.
Haven't seen Tales of the Jedi yet, other than that first episode. The rest apparently is good. So I'm at a Bergeron. I'm open to it being good. I would love it for it to be good. The premise is there, the setting is there. This trailer did not convince me that it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I'll give it a Bergeron too. Yeah, low Bergeron. I don't really care about this at all, but we'll probably watch it.
Coming out the same time as House of the Dragon and The Boys, stupid.
Very stupid.
Very dumb.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know how we're going to review all of that on this podcast. The burden of our podcast.
The
right?
2.5 hour episodes every week is back.
my
Well, at least
gosh.
it's the summer, I guess. I'll have more time to see these things.
True. Next trailer, we'll talk about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, the sequel to obviously Beetlejuice from the 80s. This one's also directed by Tim Burton. Brings back a lot of the cast. Jimmy, do you have any thoughts?
I've never seen original Beetlejuice, which I will need to. When is this movie coming out? Do you have a date?
September or October. I can't remember.
Beetlejuice. First off, hilarious name. I kind of love it.
It's kind of a good name, honestly.
It's just funny. It makes me want to see like Alien, Fast and the Furious.
Well, and I mean, it makes sense in terms of the story because like the whole like Beetlejuice, you summon him by saying his name 3 times or whatever. So it makes sense with that. It's just kind of it's funny. I like it.
Beetlejuices.
September 6th. That's coming out. So before Saw.
Before Saw. Yeah, no, I really have no thoughts other than the juice is loose.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton. Yeah,
line.
Jenna Ortega is in this. Was it Catherine O'Hara was in this?
Catherine O'Hara's in it. Winona Ryder.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Winona Ryder. Okay, so Winona Ryder was like the child in the first movie. I think she's the mom of Jenna Ortega in this, and then Catherine O'Hara was Winona Ryder's mom. So, yeah, looks like they're going to the funeral of the dad, I assume, from the first movie, because the actor who plays that is like a pedophile or something, so he's not going to be in this. So yeah, he's not a good man from what I know. But yeah, looks cool. Michael Keaton's back. Looks good.
The juice is loose.
The juice is loose. Got good energy. From what apparently most of this movie is done practically, which is kind of cool. I hope they play into like weird puppets and stuff a lot like they did in the first one. That'd be fun. So
I need to see it. I like the miniature. Really cool miniature.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Back to the Future scene.
Yeah, I'll give it a Broca, honestly. As far as a trailer or a movie that I didn't really care about, I think it's a pretty decent little teaser trailer. So.
I will give it a Bergeron just because I haven't seen the first one, so I have no idea if I would be looking forward to this or not. So
Sure.
Bergeron, but leaning Broca.
Yeah.
Why not?
But then next up, let's do House of the Dragon.
Yeah,
Jimmy.
I was gonna say I like how you talked about all the shows that were coming out, and then you went to Beetlejuice as well. I was like, that was a perfect segue.
I should have mixed it around a bit. I just was reading them out as I wrote them down. But House of the Dragon, yes, season 2, obviously. This trailer was weird. So they came out with there's like a full trailer you can watch, which is what I watched, and then they also like split it up.
Oh, there's
into
a full one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the full one. I've only seen the black version and the green version.
There's a black version and a green version. And I guess I didn't watch the green version. I assume the full one is just them together because I had watched the full trailer first. And then like I watched the black trailer. Like this is just parts from the full trailer. So I didn't bother watching the green. Yeah. What do you think? I mean,
looks good. Looks like more Game of Thrones shenanigans, which of course is my favorite. So House of the Dragon was great. Excited to rewatch that in anticipation for this. Because I've already, I mean, I remember it, but I don't remember it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah. I know. I don't remember a lot of the finer details of season 1 of House of the Dragon, but a lot of the big moments I do. I was telling you, I'm not sure if I'll rewatch season 1 just because the episodes are so long. Like I might just watch a recap or something, to be honest.
I don't know. Aegon looks a lot more like he's got a lot more presence to him. He seems much more of like a threat.
Which one's he?
He's the
eye patch one or no eye patch?
He's no eye patch.
Okay.
I don't want to really like say his position to like not spoil it, but yeah, he looks a little bit more intimidating than he did in the first season.
Sure.
And looks like he's getting a lot more play. So
what's eye patch's name? What's Patch's name?
That's a great question. I do not remember. That's my problem is I don't remember anybody's name.
Yeah.
Alicent Hightower, Otto Hightower.
They all the Targaryens just have similar names. It's very hard to keep them all
Rhaenyra Targaryen, Rhaenys Valerian.
Rhaenys, yeah.
And then there's Guy Valerian.
Yeah.
The sea snake. I don't even remember Matt Smith's name.
I was trying to think that too. I don't remember John Smith.
John something Targaryen. He's great though. That's why I'm like, I got to rewatch this because those characters are amazing, and I want to have all the nuances and the details of season 1 because I'm sure they were like, there's a little foreshadowing into what's going to happen in season 2.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, visually it looks great, like every other big budget HBO series.
hopefully
really
it doesn't
does.
have a too dark episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know what else there is to say about it. Daemon is his name.
Daemon
Right.
Targaryen.
Daemon Targaryen. That's
There
the
we
whole
go.
name. Yeah, I don't know. Which team are you? Team black or team green?
I don't really remember. I usually cheer for the bad guys, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think what's interesting about House of the Dragon, and I hope they kind of flesh it out more in the next season from what I remember, but I think they really are trying to play into like you could side with either one. Like neither one's like particularly good or bad. I feel like each one has like bad people on it.
I think Team Black is clearly like you're supposed to root for them. But we'll see after this season.
Yeah, I guess like at the end of the last season, that's kind of where you're supposed to be. But with how the marketing is and everything, I wonder
Rhaenyra
if
just burns a bunch of innocent children alive. She's oh look, a school full of orphans. Dracarys.
they're sounding the bells.
Allison Hightower's like, I would never do such a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll give it a Brokaw for the trailer.
Yeah,
Looks
why not?
Good, sure.
I kind of like the gimmick of having the two different trailers. I think it's kind of it's cringy, but it's fun.
Team Edward, Team Jacob.
Yeah, there you go.
Last trailer we have Alien Romulus. This is obviously the new Alien film directed by Fede Alvarez, who did Don't Breathe and the Evil Dead reboot from like 2013. I've only seen that. I haven't seen Don't Breathe. Trailer. It's only like a minute long, not very much. Looks good though, I think. Like
Certainly looks like an Alien movie.
yeah, visually it's returning much more to the originals, which is I think smart. The Prometheus and Alien Covenant was one of the weirdest things of those movies is that they're prequels, but they have like super futuristic technology.
Okay.
And then like for some reason in the original Alien, it's like very grimy, like 70s computers slightly boosted kind of thing. Like the aesthetic of the original Alien movie is so cool. This one's kind of going back to that.
Well, I've only seen Aliens. I've seen them only once, and it was at least 5 years ago. I like both those films a lot.
Yeah.
Just this teaser reminds me of a lot of the Alien 1. It's just like the camera just going through the hallways of the ship. And it looks great. And I think it looks great here as well. So I think that's kind of a good sign that it's reminiscent of that. There's a lot of the xenomorphs jumping onto the face, right?
The face huggers, yeah.
Face huggers. Yeah, there's a lot of that action going on. So hopefully it has that more of a just horror movie stuck on this spaceship.
This was another
thing.
one where I feel like I've brought it up multiple times this episode, but I think the director said that like almost everything is practical, or at least like with the monsters. I'm like, you see those like face huggers running around. That doesn't look that looks like
It's not
CG.
practical. When they jump and land on your face.
Yeah, which it still looks good. Nothing wrong with it, but
It looks very good. Yeah.
Alien Isolation vibes too, which obviously just takes cues from the original. But yeah, really liked it. Really
I'm going to give it a Brokaw, Holden.
yeah, Brokaw. This hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully
Alien,
it'll be good.
let's see, release.
Romulus.
What are we is that next year?
No,
This
this is like August, I think.
Alien Romulus, August 16th.
So cool.
Nice.
August is
Wasn't
usually
even
pretty
really
slow,
on
so.
my radar. So nice.
Yeah. Awesome. But that's it for trailers this week, Jimmy.
Thank goodness.
Lots of trailers. But first off, for other news, we have they're making a Sims movie.
Oh,
Jimmy.
they are.
Very interesting. So they're making a Sims movie based off of the video game series of the same name. Apparently, Margot Robbie's a producer on it.
Yes.
Interesting. Kate Herron, who directed Loki season 1, is apparently directing
Fantastic.
it, which is cool. She's co-writing it also with Brian E. Redman, who I'm not familiar with, but has apparently written some Doctor Who.
Redman.
Brian E. or Briony. Briony is how you say it. Not
It's
Brian
how,
E.
It's if that's how you say it.
Or-
Come
no,
here,
that's how you spell it.
Briony.
Yeah. But anyway, interesting. I don't know. I've never really played The Sims. It doesn't really seem like something that lends itself to a movie very well, personally. What do you think? I know your wife has some thoughts.
Yeah,
has some
Emily will
thoughts on this.
certainly be on the podcast to review this movie if it ever gets made. She does not appear before then, she will appear for this because she is a massive Sims fan. She knows all the lore, all the inside,
lore of the Sims.
The inside jokes. There's a lot of inside jokes with the Sims because
Sure.
the Sims. You're gonna make this movie. It's got to be like a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a comedy. I don't know if you can do like this. But clearly, this is a reaction to Barbie, right?
Yeah.
Like this is Barbie. This is being made because Barbie came out. I don't know if you can take that angle to it, unless I'm not familiar enough with like how The Sims works. But Emily was saying like The Sims just do stupid things. Like you have like a kitchen table, like a beautiful dining area that you'll set up, and then they'll make their food and they'll go like eat at a random desk in their bedroom or something like that.
We need some people that are very good at physical comedy in this. I think that'd be very funny, just doing random things.
Ryan Gosling needs to be in this movie.
There we go. He would be good.
But they people who can just play it straight, but it's also funny.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright. He was an American. He would be great as like a character in this. I mean, a big thing is like killing the Sims. So it's like like you create the swimming pool and then you take the ladder out and then they stuck
just
in this
drown.
pool. Or like the Grim Reaper comes and apparently just like sometimes like to kill people, but sometimes he'll just like hang out.
Okay.
Or you can flirt with the Grim Reaper. Like there's all these like little quirky, funny things. There's certain NPCs that have like a whole backstory to them, or like they just vanish throughout. So I don't know. Like, so there's a lot of those inside jokes, and a lot of them are kind of amusing from the outside looking in too. But I don't know how they're going to structure the plot of this movie. I think Barbie works because you have this social commentary bent. It's coming to the real world. I don't think you want to bring like a sim to the real world.
It's. I feel like it's gonna be like a look at what makes us human, kind of like Barbie in a little bit.
Maybe like
but
a free guy, but hopefully.
well, that's what I said. I was going to
better.
bring that up. Like it could just be free guy, some self-aware.
Which a lot of people like. If you don't know, Holden and I did not like the movie Free Guy. We're
all.
the two people in the world.
Biggest free guy haters.
So something along those lines. I'm curious to see how they would do it. The cynical side of me says that they're just going to do this thing where it's a person in the real world is like playing The Sims and they're processing their problems through The Sims, and that sort of
like
thing.
or free guy.
Yeah. But it's very controversial among the Sims player fan base because a lot of backlash because EA, believe it or not, has been making a ton of DLC for The Sims 4, and it's just broken.
Really?
It's like it's very expensive, like $50 DLC expansions, and they're just broken when they release them. So the fan base
Sims is upset.
The fan base is upset that they feel like this is a money grab, and instead of publishing the DLC in a polished state, they're just doing this. Whatever. Emily's still excited. She's sad not more people are excited.
I think with the people attached, it could be interesting. I feel like you have to make this interesting. You can't just do like a straight up adaptation of this, like, because there's nothing
There's
to
no
just
campaign.
there's nothing to straight up adapt. So, I maybe, cautiously optimistic there could be something here.
It's got to be a comedy. Like, like cheat codes, like Motherload is like the famous, like you just get a lot of money sort of thing. I think it's got to be self-aware comedy. Maybe like a horror would be fun.
We've talked about that. I think you should adapt more things into horror movies just randomly.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of
like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. Don't worry, I have something to say about that later.
I'm gonna go. I gotta give it a Brokaw for Emily. So Brokaw here. I love the Margot Robbie attached. And was Kate Herron?
Kate Herron,
the director of season 1 of Loki's fantastic, really well directed. So that makes me optimistic.
Okay, so Jimmy, there's two things I could segue into based on what we said. So I'll do the.
So
last.
I will do neither. Joker, Folie à Deux. Here we go.
Yeah, let's do that. Joker, Folie à Deux.
This wasn't one of them, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No, that would be funny if it was though. Joker, Folie à Deux. So this is the sequel to Joker coming out later this year. Apparently, 15 of its musical songs are covers, making it mostly a jukebox musical, akin to something like Mamma Mia or something, pre-existing songs being used as the musical bits. Apparently, a couple of them might be original and whatever, but the only song that was confirmed is That's Entertainment, which is from the musical The Bandwagon, which I have never heard either. So I have no thoughts on that. What do you think of the whole concept of this, though, Jimmy?
I hate this. I was like, oh, Todd Phillips just ripped off a bunch of movies to make that first one.
Mm-hmm.
But he looks like he's doing something completely just original with this. Not even making your own music.
Yeah.
I hate this so much. Absolutely.
Yeah,
this is such like any interest I had in this movie. I don't want to go into a movie just thinking I'm not going to like it, but I cannot fathom liking this movie at this point. This is an absolute bombadil for me. Just so disappointing. I thought they were taking like this big swing and just going for it, music. And it's just taking other people's work again and just
it probably just gonna be worse versions of all the songs.
I just like really we couldn't come up with our own thing for this, and I'm very skeptical that it's gonna work. I would love to be wrong. I would love to just eat my words, and this movie's amazing. And Todd Phillips, I'm like, you know what, Todd? You did it. You knocked it out of the park. But I do not see it.
I'm more mixed. I do like jukebox musicals. It is disappointing that it's not original music. But yeah, jukebox musicals can work if done properly. I'm sure there's going to be an original Lady Gaga song that'll get nominated for an Oscar. Probably that'll be in there. But otherwise, yeah, mostly just covers. Whatever. I don't know. I'll go Bergeron on it. I'm still like interested because I still think having it be a musical is like interesting in and of itself. It's just not as interesting since it's not original music. So just more Todd Phillips just taking other people's stuff, as you said, putting it in his movie.
Who is he? Hans Zimmer? Am I right?
Yeah. Oh,
no, I don't know. I don't even know. No, nothing but respect for Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. Anyway, this was one of the things I was previously going to try to segue into. You mentioned Jeffrey Wright in the Sims movie discussion, but apparently that's that High and Low remake Spike Lee's making. Jeffrey Wright's going to be in it.
Yeah.
So that's really all there is to say about it. Him alongside Denzel Washington, both very good actors. So, I think you were more negative towards this than I was. I think since Spike Lee seems to be into this and he's like casting very good people in it, it could be something, probably not surpass the original in any way, but maybe stand alongside it and be something interesting on its own.
Yeah, or just bring it as like an entrance into Japanese cinema too. For a lot of people, like, oh, that was really good. Oh, that's based off a Japanese movie. Who's this Kurosawa guy? So I like Jeffrey Wright. I'll give it a Brokaw. Why not?
Good actor. He's good in pretty much everything. Good Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. I mean, we still need to see High and Low. Maybe there's some things that could be modernized about it.
Yeah.
And people are looking at it through like, oh, Kurosawa made it, and it's an old Japanese movie, and I'm going to sound really cool if it's one of my favorites. It's probably very good.
It's probably incredible. Jimmy, Happy Gilmore 2 is being made. Did you hear this?
Yep. I heard that from Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, Shooter McGavin actor Christopher McDonald apparently had Adam Sandler showed him a script while it was being developed. And this wasn't said anything in the article, but I would assume it would be for Netflix, since like Happy Madison only makes Netflix movies at this point. They have like a production deal with them. So what do you think about a Happy Gilmore sequel?
You won't be able to have
Carl
Weathers in it, unfortunately. Well, I mean, I guess his character is dead anyway.
Oh, I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen Happy Gilmore. I don't remember much.
The crocodile, whatever. First off, Shooter McGavin, one of the greatest names in fiction.
That is a good name.
Up there with Duncan, Idaho.
Are you a big Happy Gilmore fan?
I love Happy Gilmore Holden. It's a classic. I think it's one of the few good Adam Sandler comedies.
Waterboy,
Billy Madison.
Myself.
Have you seen Billy Madison?
That's another one. It's been a long time. Yeah, I feel like the only one of like those old Adam Sandler movies I've seen semi recently is The Waterboy, and that's because I like that one a lot. So.
Okay. those are ones you got to watch as a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
To really understand the art. This is just a cash grab thing, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
100%.
It'll probably be bad. Whatever. I'll see it. Bergeron.
Happy Gilmore. This time he's doing a different sport. He's not doing golf anymore.
Can't wait for his grandma to be dead in this one.
Who plays his grandma?
I don't know.
Just an old lady.
It's just an old lady, certainly not alive anymore.
Okay.
But Ben Stiller's an underrated role in that first movie. He's hilarious.
I didn't remember he was in that.
Oh, he is so good. He's the evil nursing home guy or retirement home guy.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
He's got the best lines on the movie. Like he's like on the phone. He's basically extorting all these old people for their labor, and it just cuts to them, and it's all these like old ladies like knitting things for it. Like, it's like a sweatshop of old people. And he's like gets off the phone. He's like, "Good news, everybody! Arts and crafts time has been extended by 5 hours today." This lady's like, "My fingers hurt." "Oh, your fingers hurt? Well, now your back's gonna hurt too, because you just pulled landscaping duty. Anybody else's fingers hurt? I didn't think so." And he's just like always like blackmailing people and stuff.
That sounds pretty
He's
good.
hilarious in that. Bring him back. Bergeron for me.
I'll give it a Brocock because it just sounds like it could be a stupid cash grab, and I kind of like the horrible sound of that.
You like stupid cash grabs?
Yeah. Well, in certain cases, I think that sounds like it could be a train wreck that would be funny. So, Jimmy, Cat in the Hat. You a big fan of the Cat in the Hat franchise?
Was this the other thing what was the other thing you were going to segue to?
Literally something about Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
That's after this.
Cat in the Hat. Haven't read it since I was a child. I never saw the full Mike Myers movie.
Yeah, Cat in the Hat. I saw the Mike Myers movie in theaters. I have seen it once since. My parents just have told me that they hated taking me to that movie.
Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah, Nightmare Fuel movie. Anyway, they're making a new animated movie based on Cat in the Hat, starring Bill Hader, Quinta Brunson, who's the creator of Abbott Elementary.
This is Illumination, right?
I know it's Warner Bros.
Warner Bros. Really?
Yeah, Warner Bros. Coming March 6th, but Bowen Yang and Matt Berry also in it. So
March 6th, like next year?
Or sorry, 2026. I should have clarified that. So like 2 years away.
Wow, not Illumination, huh?
Yeah.
Even though they made the
Dr.
Grinch.
Seuss movie not being made by Illumination from what I can tell.
I mean, Bill Hader's hilarious. That could be fun, but I don't really care about this Holden. Bergeron for me.
I'm kind of on that too. I do like Bill Hader though, so cool. Finally, I just wanted to mention this because I thought this was really stupid. The critically acclaimed Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, Jimmy,
Yes.
the series is expanding.
Great.
They're getting there's like several movies coming out in this cinematic universe they're making coming over the next year. Several of them, including Bambi: The Reckoning,
Nice.
Neverland Nightmare,
Nice.
Pinocchio Unstrung,
Okay.
as well as a sequel to Blood and Honey. And then late next year, there's going to be culminating in a crossover film called Pooniverse Monsters Assemble.
That's great.
Sounds great, right?
Yeah. Sounds amazing. I'm going to go Bombadil for this one.
Yeah, Bombadil for me too. Sounds like it could be hilarious though. Did never see Blood and Honey. Apparently it was very bad.
Do you think this is a reaction to they actually tried to make a good movie with Blood and Honey and it was just bad, and they're just leaning into it now?
Did they try to make a good movie? I don't know.
But maybe they didn't try to make like the worst movie anybody'd ever seen. You know what I'm saying?
That could be.
Like
yeah.
they maybe just tried to make a
leaning
silly
into
slasher and it just turned to be like bad for ways they didn't intend and just leaning into it. I don't know.
That
I
could
haven't
be.
seen it. I really don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't really care about it either. I just thought it was funny that this is happening. So I'm sure there's some people out there that are very excited for Pooniverse Monsters Assemble.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, that's it for news this week, Jimmy.
All right.
Should we do TOMPeyes?
Yeah, let's do TOMPeyes.
Yeah, so Popeyes this week, pretty unremarkable, I think.
Yeah,
Was there
this is
anything?
our weekly Popeyes review for our new listeners or people who haven't tuned in for a while. No, I just ordered it before. I did mobile ordering. Hold on.
Oh, that's right. That was the different thing.
Yeah, so for rewards and then just deals, you can get 6 free wings with an order of $10 or more. So those ghost pepper wings are so good.
I still have never had them.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Go get yourself some Popeyes wings. Not a sponsor, man. Those are good.
Yeah.
Good wings at Popeyes. They know how to make chicken there.
Yeah, there's I think for me, it was pretty regular this week. It was very good. I think I got a total. I ordered my 5-piece tender combo like I do always. I got technically 6, but one of them was like just like breading and gristle, so it wasn't very good. But the rest of it was very, very tasty chicken. Otherwise fairly regular, I think.
Yeah, good, nice staff.
Yeah, very friendly staff.
Friendly experience, good overall experience. Good job, Popeyes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Not always that way, but sometimes it's nice to have that instead of a train wreck sometimes.
Good job, Popeyes. Brokaw this week for you.
Yeah, Brokaw for me as well.
But provide a little bit more entertainment next time, please.
Please, yeah. You can still be like very good, just a little funny.
Just a little funnier next time.
Funnier.
No
That's
people
our only critique.
no people making out, no employees screaming at each other.
Yeah,
what's going on?
Exactly. What is happening?
This week was the exception. All right.
Yeah, but otherwise, Jimmy, I think that's it for everything up to our review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, right?
Yeah, so let's dive into Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This will start off spoiler free. So you haven't seen it yet, you're okay. And then we'll warn you before we dive into spoilers. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, put on your jackets, coming out right after this.
Okay. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Jimmy.
No, Holden, they're in New York.
It's cold.
It's not cold. It's hot.
Oh, yeah, it's hot in New York.
Gosh, it's hot. But you know what? It's actually cold like in the early 1900s because the Manhattan Adventures Club, they're having a big old root tootin' time.
Is that a real thing?
And I have no idea.
Okay.
Could be. That sounds made up. Some Masonic sounding, adjacent thing sounding. They're having a root tootin' time, and then they all freeze to death. Oh, you're cold open in the movie. Oh boy, scary stuff. And then it jumps to the future.
Cold open.
Yeah, cold open. Oh yeah, nice. Jumps to the future. Good thing that's good. It's stored away. It's gonna be fine. Hopefully that thing the death chill. All right. Hopefully that doesn't destroy the world and freeze everything.
That would be bad.
Because it's kind of like the bad guy from Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
Very similar in my brain. So the whole point of the movie is don't let this death chill thing out, but also what's going on with this cast of characters from the last movie and the ones from the 80s.
Yeah. Okay. So this is obviously a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. Jason Reitman did not return to direct. Instead, it's the director of Monster House, Gil Keane. I don't know. That's the only thing I know about him. But Jason Reitman did, I think, co-write it. This movie was whatever. Not very good, I don't think, but like mostly just fine.
The problem is, Holden, is I don't care about Ghostbusters. Do you care about Ghostbusters?
I stand by. I really like the first Ghostbusters,
okay.
And like I think that's saying something because I do not care for most Harold Ramis written comedies from the 80s, like Caddyshack or Animal House. I don't really like any of those.
Animal House is one of the most overrated movies I think
agree
ever.
Personally, but I think like a lot of those movies, like Bill Murray was in, like I just don't think they hold up very well. What was the one? Stripes. Stripes is another one that I just do not think is very funny anymore. But I do think Ghostbusters actually holds up pretty well, and I think most of that is just because most of the comedy of that comes from like them, like kind of the comedy of opening a small business and having this just like weird. It's just like a very high concept thing to it.
It's got a good charm to it.
Yeah, good charm to it. Good cast and everything. But aside from that first one, like the second one's not very good. The 2016 reboot's not very good. And then Afterlife is fine from what I remember, but I don't remember much about it. That's one thing. So yeah, aside from that first one, and I did mention to you, I like the game too that came out like 2008
Okay.
or whatever. That was like essentially Ghostbusters 3 had the cast come back. It's a pretty good game. But aside from that, yeah, Ghostbusters, it's a franchise that doesn't need to be a franchise. Like really, it's just a bizarre franchise because I feel like the only one that everyone can agree is good is the first one.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like, I don't care enough about Ghostbusters to like, oh, this is what Ghostbusters should be or shouldn't be. It just is a thing that exists and people like it and that good for them. This movie, yeah, it's perfectly passable. Like if you're a big franchise fan, I think you'll get some sort of enjoyment out of it. There is a lot of goofy ghost stuff that happens. Like there's just some silly things that occur. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which I think is good. I just think that there's too many characters. Like it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
there's just like we're just stuck with like, why is Podcast the kid in this? Like he doesn't, just leave him behind in that other town. Like, I mean, he doesn't need to come back for this.
I mean, even if like the poster on Wikipedia is not as bad. There's one poster I've seen where it has like every one of the main characters on it, and it's so crowded. It's like why is there such a There's like Podcast. There's the one girl. It's like the intern for Ernie Hudson's character. Which I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, she was like the love interest to Finn Wolfhard in that first movie, and then they just don't do anything.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
Finn Wolfhard is not
useless.
in this movie. Yeah, he's not in this movie at all.
Yeah, there's too many people. Like you could have just I get having Finn Wolfhard because he's the older brother, but you could have easily just had the two parents, had Phoebe, the kid, and then I guess the old Ghostbusters if you really want. But even then, most of that it's like. Bill Murray doesn't need to be there really.
Yeah.
It's too many side plots. It feels like a lot of side plots for most of like the first half of the movie. And then the real plot starts happening.
And then they introduce more characters.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I like Dan Aykroyd gets quite a bit to do. I enjoyed him. Yeah. I enjoyed Kumail Nanjiani's character too. I thought that was kind of a fun, goofy thing.
Yeah. It was fun that he was a character that just didn't really, he was kind of a grifter, kind of didn't really care. He was kind of thrown into this. And
Bill Murray has his cameo. He gets the laughs. And I don't know. This movie for me, the problem is it's like, they just like I feel like we just needed to get it just was too long. It was too long.
It was
like,
too
it should
long.
have been an
it was
hour
under
and a half.
2 hours, but it was still too long.
It should have been an hour and a half. You just trim the fat with some of these characters you don't need. I think kind of like the lore of like this Death Chill is actually pretty interesting. The way they like tell it too. Patton Oswalt comes in. He tells like this story and
that cool animated sequence.
Yeah, really creative stuff there. I think like there's a lot of good things to say here. Like although the cast is overcrowded in my opinion, I think that everybody is good. Like I enjoyed all the characters that when they were on screen.
Yeah.
And I think like the visual effects, it's not like going to be nominated for Oscars or anything, but like there's nothing bad that takes you out. It's not like The Flash where you're like, ooh, that does not look good.
Well, and from what I understand, like Slimer's in this movie, which it's whatever. It's just because you recognize Slimer, but most of that's like puppeted too.
Yeah.
So there's like some puppets in this too, which is kind of cool. But as you said, visually it does look pretty solid, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure they did like there's these certain ghost things that like can hide in different things. I can't remember.
Oh
what
yeah.
They're called
the Possessor, I think they call it.
Yeah, but I'm sure they had to do some creative stuff to film that and figure that out. I do think this movie is well directed. Actually, I think it's quite well directed. It's got a good kineticism to a lot of the action moments. Especially like the car chase, there's kind of a lot of fun movement.
Yeah, the car chase is that's probably the best part in terms of the action for me, and that's the first one.
Yeah, and I think there's again a lot of cool things happening in here. I just think that
cool things.
Yeah, cool. Ooh, chilly. I just think that my word, that it takes so long for the Death Chill to like break out of its thing. I mean, like
Garaka.
It is, It is well over an hour for this, basically the inciting incident of the movie to occur.
If you've seen the trailer, like the opening part of the trailer happens in like the last 30 minutes.
Yeah,
It's
it
so
is.
weird.
It's got to be roughly an hour and 15 minutes into this movie
Yeah.
that the threat becomes apparent.
It's so bizarre. I think another thing that like I feel like we've had problems with this since like the 2016 movie. There's like so many unnecessary callbacks to like the original movie that are just in there, and it just crowds the movie for like no reason. They brought back Walter Peck, who's like the bureaucrat in the original movie. He tries to shut down the Ghostbusters, and he's just in this movie.
He does not need to be in this movie. He's just
another character.
Mustache twirling, cartoony evil.
And his presence makes like in the first one, sure, it makes sense because they're like this new business that's just destroying a lot. But in this movie, it makes like less sense because like they've like done things.
Yeah.
Like why? I don't. And yeah, they cause a lot of property damage, but like it's not like they're not, doing good things. It's very bizarre. I don't know. He's the mayor too. Yeah.
Yeah, which I didn't realize until the end.
Yeah, I
was
didn't
like,
either.
oh, he was the mayor? I thought he was just some lawyer guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut you down, Ghostbusters. That's my entire motivation. Whatever. Like I said, the movie doesn't take itself too seriously. There's some ghosts, like they have people ghost effects. I think those look good as well. McKenna Grace as Phoebe Spangler gets a lot of playtime. I think she's really good. It's like Kung Fu Panda 4. It's just so predictable where it's going. It is. I mean, it's just like, and then for the movie to be 2 hours long, it's like, can we just get there? Like, or can we just get? Either can we get there, or can you take this in a way that's going to be a direction that's going to be more interesting?
Well, there's a couple examples in this movie too that I'll talk about in spoilers of like them setting up things that I thought were obvious, and then they don't do it, and what they do is like less interesting than the obvious thing for me. Like, and I'll mention that in spoilers. So like some of the deviations they took, I think, are just like even less interesting. So I don't know, bizarre. I think this movie. I don't think this movie is very funny. I don't really remember like
People in our theater liked it a lot.
Yeah, I guess I feel like it was mostly like the old Ghostbusters when they would say and do things, but yeah, to me it was pretty mediocre in that regard for the most part. I will say there's one line in this that I didn't laugh in the theater, but it's stuck with me with how stupid it is. I'll just mention it in spoilers instead of now.
Okay. Nice tease.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm kind of landing on with it. I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just a movie that I was not the intended audience for. I can appreciate elements of it. If I were to have, I guess it's just tricky to make a Ghostbusters movie because it's like, okay, you have the legacy cast. How much goofiness do you have? I don't know. I just wasn't as fun to me. Maybe he had more fun with Afterlife. I don't remember Afterlife at all, really, either, which is the problem too. So I can't really compare them. I just remember Paul Rudd was at the beginning, and it was really funny. And he's like, there's a lot of comedy in him being just a terrible teacher.
Yeah, I think there was more comedy in that at least worked for us. But yeah, in this one, it feels very light. I feel like one of the things that is like really missing from the original to these movies is like that original one is just like these ones. It's like it's way too focused on like being accessible to like young kids, I guess. I don't know. It's like the first movie I think is like so much more focused on being just like a straight up comedy. It's not really like it did get a lot of merchandise, but it was more just like comedy first, more so than anything. This, it feels like a lot of it's just kind of watered down. It's not as I feel like in some of the other appeal of that first one is it's pretty cynical in its approach. And this one, these are very like, I feel like these are very earnest movies for the most part. There's not as much edge to them. Not that there's like a ton of edge to that first movie, but yeah, there's just like a little something that really holds these movies back, especially in the comedy department, I think, for me personally. But
yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of care and thought was put into this movie. I think they legitimately tried to make a good Ghostbusters movie, and people cared about it when they made it, and people enjoyed making it. So I think it's more than just a legacy sequel cash grab that you could cynically look at it as.
Well, I guess, sorry to interrupt, but one of the things I commend it is I think it's nice that it's kind of just like a monster of the week plot.
Yeah.
It's like they, the last movie they brought back the villain from the first movie, whatever. But this one, it's just like, oh, it's just a ghost trapped in a thing and its powers are ice and whatever. It felt like a long episode of a TV show in that regard, which I think is good. I think that makes it more interesting than just like an all powerful god ghost thing that just vaguely controls things. I don't know.
It does have just a laser into the sky.
It does. Sky. I haven't seen
a big sky laser. I'm like, oh, we haven't done one of these in a while. Used to be just in every movie.
The sky beam in this is like kind of funny too, because it doesn't. It's like, why is this here?
It doesn't
even
really
more so than a lot of other movies.
Boy, I feel like the villain is so similar to the Aquaman 2 villain, though.
Yeah, it's more fun than the Aquaman 2 villain because it's got like that ice gimmick to it. But yeah, I can see a lot of comparison.
Yeah. I'm very upset that there's a lot of these ice spikes, stalagmites. I forget which ones go up. They don't impale anybody.
I know, right?
Somebody's got to get impaled by this.
There 100% was, but yeah, just because it's a PG-13 action comedy family movie, and they're not going to show someone get impaled on a spike.
Their blood just coming out of their esophagus.
Terminator 2 goes through like the mouth or whatever back of the head.
Holden, what are you going to give this as a score?
I'm at like a 5. It's just like very completely middle of the road. Nothing with this sticks with me too much, good or bad. So yeah, it's just like 5, I think. 5 out of 10.
I think that's fair. And Holden's a pretty harsh reviewer too. So
sure.
Like in terms of like some people just willy-nilly, oh, this is an 8, this is a 9. I think when you say like average, you mean like 5.
Yeah,
like
average for me is average.
Some people think of it like as like a grading scale where it's like average is like a C, so like 70.
I like to think of like 5 as like a movie that's like just like completely neutral, and then if a movie is much worse than that, it's lower, and then better is higher. So,
boy, what do I think? I think that this movie is for, if you're not a Ghostbusters fan, there's no reason to go to this. This is not going to convert you. Although, like you said, it's accessible to children. So if it's like you grew up liking the Ghostbusters and you want to get your kids into it, maybe this is like a good gateway for that.
Maybe, yeah.
Or if you just want some nostalgia, it's an inoffensive time at the movies.
Yeah, really. Could be a lot worse.
Could be. Yes, it certainly could be. We'll see how it compares to Godzilla X Kong next week. The New Empire, whatever that movie's called.
New Empire.
Frozen Empire. They thought out the
Frozen
Empire.
Ape.
So yeah, there we go. Let's talk about our spoiler review discussion of this movie, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and we will talk about some spoilers, some specifics right after this little jingle.
All right, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire spoiler discussion, Jimmy.
The Frozen Empire strikes back.
So before I forget, the line I was thinking of that like I keep thinking about is when they're like visit Kumail Nanjiani's like house, and it's like a ragtag group of them, and the one girl is like sees that picture on the wall and it's like nipple stuff, iconic. And then she says something later about like a sex dungeon. I feel like it doesn't really permeate much of this movie, but there's a few lines that are just like the most like 50-year-old writing teenage dialogue kind of thing going on here, but they're just very funny lines.
Wow. I forgot about that.
But otherwise, the actual interesting stuff about this.
What do you think of the cold open?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it it was interesting. I think it's like interesting in retrospect too, because like you have these people like breaking in to this frozen room. Initially, you're just like, oh, it's like first responder firefighter guys. It's like whatever, but then you like figure out they're like actually kind of like people that are like they're the firemen, right? Or like the whatever Kumail Nanjiani is, what he belongs to, that group.
Do you think they are them?
I
thought it was
assume
just
so.
a fire, because it is the Ghostbusters firehouse. I just thought it was fire people.
I guess it could go either
Firefighters.
way. Yeah, it could go either way. I just I felt like it was a weird coincidence that like they were literally called the Kumail Nanjiani's like people are called like firemen or whatever, and then they had firemen come in at the beginning of the movie. Could be.
I think that's unrelated.
Could be.
But no, I
it's
kind of
cool.
I liked it. It reminded me of like the Uncharted 4 when you're like at the whatever the island's called, and you like walk in on all the pirates and they're dead around the table. It kind of reminded me of that. Like, what happened here?
That's right.
And so I liked that element of it, and you kind of see the aftermath of it in like that early 1900s gaudy Manhattan Adventurers Club.
Yeah.
Kind of a fun way to open up the movie. But we don't really get to see Garaka.
Yeah, Garaka.
Garage Band. Do podcast and Garage Band. Do that much stuff other than be a scary voice. And that's kind of where I got the Aquaman 2. I mean, Garaka does a little bit more than the Aquaman 2 guy, but
it is mostly just like
not
he's controlling
much
things.
more.
Yeah, he has like this vague control over other ghosts,
Which
but like
does that play into anything ever?
not really, no.
And if he can control a ghost, why doesn't he just control that one girl ghost? Like,
Yeah, instead of like just suggesting to her. Okay, that's another thing.
and if she betrays him at the end, why didn't he just control her into not betraying him?
Well, there's why does the girl ghost have like a regular human shape?
I don't know.
That I was wondering that. I'm like,
Does that imply that all these other ghosts are dead other things from other places?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. It's like it. I guess like in the last movie they had that bit where CGI Egon was at the end of the movie. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And he was human shaped,
Right
whatever.
next to Yoda and Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Force Ghost Egon. But yeah, it's just like there's not very many of them. I just kind of assume in this world that like ghosts like just turn into these weird little freaks.
Yeah.
Like a Slimer or a little possessor guy or something. But yeah, it's just bizarre.
I can get over that. There's probably some lore reason why there are things like
Ghostbusters
that.
deep lore.
But why doesn't he just control her?
Yeah.
If he can, and he doesn't really even control anybody.
No.
Although he controls Phoebe's her ghost, but then it was her body. I'm like,
okay.
How
so
does that work?
That's what I was confused by that because I was like, that seems so convoluted. That whole like okay, so
like, here's what I'm gonna have you do. I'm gonna have you manipulate this girl into liking you, and then you're gonna get her to do this really experimental thing to become a ghost. And then when she is a ghost, then I'm going to take over her and control her. And then by controlling her ghost, it actually controls her body. And then she's going to say this chant. And then that's how I'm going to get free. But that's not going to happen for an hour and 20 minutes.
Well, okay, so one of the when I was saying like sometimes it would change things from what I was expecting, I was just expecting like Garaka to possess Phoebe. I was like, okay, that would like make sense to me. Like logically, they're separated or whatever. And since they made a whole big deal about separating the soul from the body and whatever, that would make sense to me. But then no, it's just she just goes back into the body, and they were entirely just using her to read the thing. It was so bizarre. I don't know.
And
convoluted.
Why doesn't Garaka just kill everyone? Why does he like let Phoebe live? Why does he let that other Ghostbuster girl live? Mm-hmm. Like I thought she was gonna die.
Yeah,
like, he just lets her live because it's a kids movie. But is this PG-13?
I think it's PG-13.
Like,
could be wrong, but
it's got to be, right?
I think
with
so.
all the innuendos and the dungeon, nipple stuff.
Iconic.
Bustin' makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's PG-13.
I just like there really nobody. Everybody's fine except some random. No, there's some random people are frozen, and That one fire.
Oh yeah,
vape.
Yeah, that's right.
Cigarette
He gets
guy?
shattered. Yeah.
What do they call them? The fire warriors or something? Does it say in the plot there?
Fire.
The fire.
The fire guys.
The Infuegos.
Yeah, I'm just seeing stuff about pyrokinetic powers. It doesn't say the name.
The firemen are that one fire guy's killed.
Yeah.
Really, that's it.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was going to be the lady from Venom walks in.
Oh yeah.
That really
Another Sony movie.
Garaka. I mean, and he gets his horn. Okay, so how does he know where his horns are? And all that?
I don't. So it's
and
like,
if he's like, oh, these are where my horns are, then why didn't he just? Then he would probably know who Kumail Nanjiani's character is. Then too.
Yeah,
like, why does he know
if
this?
he's that aware of his surroundings that he knows where those are.
I don't understand.
Bizarre. Okay, and so another aspect of that whole like him being released by reading that thing that I thought was set up one way and then they just didn't do anything with was like for some reason when they meet with Patton Oswalt's character and he's playing that podcast is like recording it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, so probably what's gonna happen is like somehow this thing's gonna get destroyed or something, or even like when the possessor came, I was like, okay, the possessor's gonna like grab podcasts recording equipment or something, but then no, that just doesn't matter at all. Him recording that makes podcast even more useless as a character for this movie.
A scene I really liked was Patton Oswalt explaining the lore and that the animation of it as like this stone
carving thing.
Yeah,
That was really
engravings.
cool.
Yeah, very cool, very creative. I think it worked really well. I liked it, and I think Patton Oswalt had a lot of fun doing that. I like how he was just like so into the story too.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is legit." Like dark, and I'm like, that's how I like. That's kind of the way I am as a teacher. Of like, isn't that crazy, kids?
Well, yeah, that's one of the things why I think like Dan Aykroyd works in this movie too, because even he's the legacy character I like the most here, just because he like as an actor, he's like always been a huge like Ghostbusters like series, loves being in everything, and he like genuinely in real life is also kind of a weird like ghost freak guy too. So he's kind of playing himself a little bit. So there's a lot of passion there, I think, for him just enjoying being in these. So
yeah, Bill Murray very much seems like he is just getting a paycheck.
Yeah, 100%. He's only in like two scenes, really.
I mean, he seems to be having enough fun with it. Like both sides understand exactly the transaction that is occurring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Melnitz in uniform.
Yeah.
Why is Melnitz in this movie?
Yeah, that really for no reason. So lore wise, she and like Egon had like a thing in Ghostbusters 2. And so in Ghostbusters,
she was in Afterlife.
She was in Afterlife. She like for some reason like I think she was like in charge of his estate to some extent. Like she had like the house that they ended up getting in Afterlife. So I don't know if I don't know exactly why, but in this movie, yeah, there's not really any reason why she's.
Why does Garaka want to release the ghosts? Like, okay, so Garaka can control the ghosts, but why he doesn't really seem like he needs them. He's unstoppable.
He's already just this powerful ice god person.
Kumail Nanjiani is the only person that can kill him.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, this movie, he should have gotten out a lot earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have to find Kumail Nanjiani and they have to keep him alive.
Yeah, keep him alive. Maybe have Kumail Nanjiani like fail fighting him once. I think one of the reasons why this back half feels so rushed is because you have Kumail Nanjiani who like figures out he has these pyrokinetic powers, and he is at a very pathetic place like with these powers like for way too long. He's just like he can barely move this flame, and then he's like expected to fight this
within
ice
10
god.
minutes. He's just hurling fireballs,
and he's like dressed up and looks like a firebender from Avatar too, and he's firebending and everything.
There we go, the firebenders. That's what we should just call them.
That's what we should call them. But yeah, and he's just suddenly good.
That's what it says. Fire.
Oh, it does say that there. Fire master.
Are you the fire master? Yeah, man. I'll be with you in 1 second, man.
But yeah, and then there's that whole thing during the climax where he like redirects a plasma, one of the whatever you call them. I can't remember what you call them in Ghostbusters. One of the ghost gun things, ghost gun beams.
Proton
packs, yeah, proton beams. So he like redirects one of those
and then streams, right? Don't cross
the streams. And then he just like doesn't do that again, and that's just kind of like whatever. It was bizarre. Yeah. It felt there were like too many. There were too many people at that firehouse at the end of the movie. And I think that plays into there just being too many characters. But that bottom floor it felt like they were like shoulder to shoulder, like squeezed in there. Just way too many people. There was the bit where she figures out that she has to, or that she can like. The proton packs themselves don't work, but if she like encases the reactor in like brass, then it works.
And they use the pole,
yeah.
But then the pole is just intact.
Okay, so I thought that too. There's more than one pole.
Okay,
and I was thinking that too because I was like, Kumail Nanjiani goes to the pole. I'm like, okay, so is it gonna be like a comedic bit where he like goes down and just falls or something? That'd be kind of funny.
They had the comedic bit where he's coming down, so he should have just.
Yeah, like that could have been funny, but so I was like, okay, what, like, why is this still intact? But then, like, in the background of one of the shots, like with Garaka, there's like another pole there, so I'm like, okay, it's probably just that pole, I guess. Weird. But yeah, so then that just suddenly works, which I guess like the explanation is that the ball he was encased in was made out of brass. I think that's why that works.
The ball he was encased in,
or like when he was trapped in the ball.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's why that.
I thought you were talking about Kumail Nanjiani.
No, he does not get encased in a ball.
Thought, and then the proton packs don't have the brass, so then she like coats them in brass, like in 5 minutes.
Yeah, she like smelts a bunch of brass down.
Like, don't you have to have it cool?
Available. Yeah,
like you can't just dip apart, presumably, and like you'd have to take apart the whole proton pack, and the timeline did not seem to work there.
She's in like the kitchen of this fire station, just like melting it down with like a blowtorch very quickly. But
then she didn't do that with everybody else's, I guess.
Yeah, which I guess that's where the time constraint. You only got 5 minutes. You can only smelt down so much brass.
I don't know. They tried. They did. It is far from a flawless movie. Yeah, I don't know.
Paul Rudd doesn't really have much to do here.
He doesn't.
It's disappointing.
A shame.
Yeah, I mean he's always got his charm, but both him and Carrie Coon don't really have much of an arc at all. Phoebe is really the only member of the family that has anything going on. She has like friendship / romance with the ghost girl, kind of unclear, and she like keeps getting grounded and everything, and it's very. I felt like that was Walter Peck being there. It was so like artificial, like having to like ground Phoebe and everything. It just felt so contrived, like just for the plot to happen but it also like. It could have played into some more teen angst that I didn't really feel like also was that important to the movie either. Like she was just like kind of sad, but it wasn't like that big of a deal. She just kind of snuck out and played chess in the park. That was like it.
You get back here. You quit sneaking out and playing chess.
Yeah. Which I didn't really I guess I don't remember if like chess was a thing in the first. Oh no, I think it was, because I think she plays chess with the ghost of Egon in the last movie or something. Okay. But I was like, why is she just going out to this park and like putting the chess pieces out if she doesn't know there's a ghost there? That was weird to me. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about this movie, Jimmy.
I don't think I have anything else to say.
Yeah. I guess I will say I did like. Oh, okay. I do have a couple more things. So I liked the new like ghost facility thing. I was like, okay, it's kind of cool that since Winston had like is like a philanthropist now, that he's just like building all of this secret ghost hunting equipment. That was kind of fun. I thought they could have played more into like interesting new gadgets than they did. It was mostly just that like body separate, like that separator
And the
thing.
drone.
And the drone, yeah. But there was that one ghost that was trapped in there that was like really freaky looking. It had like the big teeth and everything, like dark red eyes. I don't know if it was like opposite from where the possessor was. Nothing happened with that.
No.
I was like, okay, the possessor gets out. That has a fun gimmick. And then there's just this creepy other ghost that is not in the movie, even like when the proton fields go down or whatever.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
The librarian ghost is in this for no reason. Remember that when they just it looked like archive footage, honestly. Like they just kind of CG'd in the stuff from the original movie. Yeah, I think that's probably about it. Not a ton to say about this.
There we go. Well, that takes us to our final segment of the show then, which of course is What Are You Doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing?
All right, Jimmy. This week, actually like a week ago, I told you this at Popeyes, but I watched a movie that could possibly have made it onto my top 10 of last year. If nothing else, it would have gotten an honorable mention, but it was the BlackBerry movie from last year. Which, if you're unfamiliar with, it's like the story of the BlackBerry phone company.
Is that on a streaming service?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
It might be on other stuff too. But it's very Social Network and like Steve Jobs influenced, and just how it's written and presented and everything. But cinematography wise, it's very Succession-y, like with like a lot of like crash zoom stuff and everything. It reminded me a lot of that, but it's funnier and also sadder than I think both of those other movies too. It has a lot of very good comedy bits. The director is apparently like an indie, like Canadian comedy director who's very well liked. So a lot of that shows through. Glenn Howerton, who plays Dennis Reynolds on It's Always Sunny and is like the best part of that show, in my opinion. He plays like the business side of this company, and he is hilarious and he's so good. He's just like, he's yelling all the time, always angry. And honestly, his performance is like genuinely good. I mean, you have the yelling moments. There's some other like more subtle moments that I think he's really good. I think he could have gotten a Best Supporting Actor nom for the movie. He's very good and a very, very entertaining character. Apparently, like I've seen like interviews because I listen to the It's Always Sunny podcast sometimes, and he was talking about this movie a little bit on it, and he was mentioning that like this guy that he was playing like in real life claims he's never watched a movie. She's never watched a movie.
Wow.
And there's a couple of times in the movie where he just doesn't get like Star Wars references. He's just like, I've never seen that or whatever. And so I don't know. It's very interesting. I would recommend watching it. I think it's under 2 hours too, so not that long. And the other big thing I watched this week was the end of Evangelion finale movie for Neon Genesis Evangelion. Incredible. I've seen it twice, actually.
Oh, wow.
I watched it Wednesday in theaters since it was here, and then I like have not been able to stop thinking about it. So last night I just rewatched it because it's on Netflix. It's like 85 minutes. It's not very long.
Where's the whole show on?
It's all on Netflix.
Okay.
You can watch all of it on Netflix. I would recommend, they do have an English dub. I've heard mixed things about it. I just watched the Japanese and it's very good. So, but yeah, the movie the first half is like, has some of the most impressive, I'd say like action I've seen in an animated thing, very violent. Also for like 1997, a very pretty seamless blend of 3D and 2D animation. They do. There's some parts where you can tell it's like it's 3D with like a 2D look, but it's, I think, very impressive for the time, especially. But and then the second half gets a lot more like weird introspective stuff that is very interesting and no less, I think, enthralling. But I highly recommend it to anyone. Very good, I think, just like starter anime probably. And there's a set of 4 like reboot movies or like remake movies that were on Amazon Prime that are still animated and made by the original creator that I've heard as described as like the Final Fantasy VII remake, where it's like a remake, but it takes a lot of deviations. apparently those are also incredible. So I'll probably watch those at some point soon. But other than that, since I finished that show, I caught up on Abbott Elementary, which is very funny. Still airing the 3rd season of that, and just still playing Final Fantasy. I think I'm getting close to the end of it, but I've put a lot of time into it. It's very good. I don't regret any of it. It's not like when I sunk cost fallacy I had with the Lego Star Wars game.
Yeah.
This is a very good game. So, what about you, Jimmy? What have you been up to?
Well, the big thing for me is just getting some more Plague Tale Requiem time in. Enjoying that. I'm on the segment where you're on the island.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'm enjoying that. It does really much open up. I would say overall, I don't really remember the first one enough. I think this one is a little bit too slow for me. Like, I just think that they tried to do like the Uncharted 4 thing where you like get into kind of an open area and you kind of just go and check things out. And I just think I like that idea. I think it works out really well, especially in Uncharted 4 and like Lost Legacy. I just don't think it's as good as that. So it's a little bit
like less.
It's just a step down. It's just like a step down. So I feel like I'm just not very good at the game. I think it's also just like hindering my enjoyment of it a little bit. I'm not a very good passive stealth player. I really like active stealth. And so
there's a lot of moments where you have to you
cannot
take down people. You just have to like sneak by.
And I'm also frustrated. They have those like hidden chest things that you have to open with a knife. And there's been a couple that I found that I just don't have a knife and I cannot open them. But yeah, no, it's.
I got the platinum trophy on that one.
Yeah, there are like the set piece things are kind of fun, and it is like so sunshine and rainbows right now and Midsummer-esque. I'm like, this is gonna get extremely dark at some point. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm enjoying it a lot. Otherwise, I've just been watching NCAA March Madness basketball.
Wow,
lots of fun. My bracket's doing all right. It's okay. Baseball's starting this week, Holden. I'm excited. Go Minnesota Twins.
Go Twins.
Although that's it. So next week you got Godzilla X-Con. He's out of prison. Out of prison. No, Godzilla X-Kong.
The new empire.
Is it? Are you supposed to say X-Kong? Godzilla Kong, the new empire?
I don't know. I don't know if Wikipedia would tell me that or not.
Godzilla.
It's just like you could just say Godzilla and Kong. Like, why just put an ampersand there? Like, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't say.
Godzilla at Kong at gmail.com.
Godzilla Kai Kong or whatever the Greek letter X is. Is it Chi or Chi? I can't remember. I think the X is like Chi or Kai or something. CHI.
That's coming at you next week. Anything else? We may be doing that HBO documentary about how Tarowski's doing.
It's not HBO, but it's
not
on
HBO, but on Max. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if we get to it, I'd love to do it. The How Tarowski's Dune. I think I'd suggested it for this week, but I think it would be a good way to round out our Dune coverage. Then we'd have covered pretty much every. I guess we did
the
not
mini
the series, yeah. But
so we just have to do that. We'll do that when we're reviewing The Boys, Acolyte, and and House of the Dragon season 2. Gee whiz, we're gonna have some long episodes coming at you in the summer.
But if you want to leave us a request, you can do so by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes or email us at tompodcast@gmail.com or donate to our Patreon. And I think that's it, Jimmy.
All right, sweet. Until next time, adios, pantalones.
Love you.